Hello, Insomniacs, it's Kurious Cyclopes.
And Steve.
And, the Myers Fanatic 25. Well, guess what? I hope we have your attention again, buddy. Because guess what? We're doing your favorite thing. We're going to discuss Michael Myers and Halloween. Well, as you know, last time we did a Halloween review for the original. And we did a little giveaway. So, at the end of this episode, we will be announcing the winner of the awesome PJ Souls signature card. Well, let's get started off with our review of Halloween 2. So, Halloween 2, instead of it being like a typical sequel, takes off right at the fucking end of the first one, and it picks up right from there. Right off the bat, I want to get this out of the way to say, remember I said I had a false memory of the original Halloween, saying that Michael Myers literally left a bloody imprint in the grass? Turns out that wasn't a false memory. I just had the wrong movie. Right in the beginning of Halloween 2, Dr. Loomis literally runs up to the grass where Michael was, sees his cartoonish fucking like coyote, wild coyote imprint on there, and he literally like touches the grass and sees the blood just to be like, okay, I definitely shot this guy a bunch of times.
Yeah.
So there indeed is a bloody imprint that Michael Myers left behind in the lawn. It looked a little silly, but whatever. I mean, he must have hit the ground really fucking hard. Anyways, Halloween 2, it begins off right where the first one left off. So right off the bat, Michael gets away. He goes off into some elderly couple's house and he steals their kitchen knife while they're watching a news broadcast of what Michael's doing. And the lady, she turns around after she sees the broadcast and she goes to the kitchen and she sees that her kitchen knife's gone, but there's blood on the cutting board, and she goes, ah! So right after that happens, Michael Myers goes to some other girl that's named Annie, not from the original, but some other Annie chicken, kills her. Well, anyway, so what happens in the beginning is, right after Loomis sees like the bloody grass and that Michael got away and he's actually not dead. What's your favorite quote from this movie? I think you mentioned it.
Yeah, I love that line. After he realizes that he got away, he starts like screaming at the top of his lungs and is like, "Call the police! I shot him 6 times! Blah blah blah." And the neighbor next door comes out and is like, "What is this? Another trick or treat? I've been trick or treated to death tonight." And what does he say to him?
"You don't know what death is." And then he like turns the cold shoulder and walks away. But
it's fucking badass.
That is a legendary line. And where did you say that line came from?
Oh yeah, apparently that whole interaction was written into the novelization version of the first Halloween, and John Carpenter borrowed it and then put it into this second movie.
So, as always, Dr. Loomis is as badass as ever. His performance, of course, is stellar.
Oh, yeah.
In the sequel as well as with the original. So, yeah, he does that whole cool, "You don't know what death is." So, yeah, after that, Lori gets transported to the hospital because Michael, he didn't kill her. So, what happens is, she gets brought to the hospital, and I guess on the news broadcast they're saying like, "Oh, there's a survivor, blah blah, getting transported to the hospital, blah blah blah." So I guess Michael hears it on the radio intermission. Or something like that?
he runs into that kid with the boombox on his shoulder, who's playing the radio broadcast.
Yeah. So of course, what happens? Michael Myers hears that she's going to the hospital, so he makes his way there.
On foot, dude. He walks all the way to the fucking hospital.
Yep. And you know what's funny? Pretty much the whole town now is in hysteria because one by one they're uncovering all these bodies that from even the first one that from all these people that Michael killed, and while they're running around, of course, the tension's really building up, and Dr. Loomis thinks he sees Michael Myers because there's some kid, wearing the mask and going down the street. So, as Dr. Loomis is about to fucking like fire a bullet at the guy, a cop puts his arm down. He's like, "No! Like, what the fuck are you doing?" For some reason, out of nowhere, a police cruiser is in the middle of the road where the guy was walking, pins him against another truck, fucking blows up. There's a fire, and the kid is burning up. And now the issue is they don't know if the guy with the Michael Myers mask is actually Michael Myers or not. But Steve enlightened me about the guy that I never fucking knew before, and it's really important. So please listen up.
I mean, I don't know if it's really
I
important.
I think it's awesome.
It's a cool little nod. Eventually, you end up finding out that there's friends who are looking for Ben Tramer and say that, he was walking around with some
that
stupid mask on. Yeah. Ben Tramer was the boy who Laurie was telling her friends that she had a crush on in the first movie.
And I never, ever would have picked up on that because Steve's better with like name memorization and all that. So yeah, Laurie's crush from the first one, guess what? He fucking got killed in this one, and it wasn't Michael Myers' fault. It was apparently a cop who couldn't drive. Everyone bashes that scene, saying, "How the fuck did that happen? That accident?"
Do you think it's like on purpose that the like kid in the fake Michael Myers mask almost meets the same fate that actual Michael Myers does at the end of the movie, like being caught on fire in an explosion and stuff?
That's another thing I didn't realize. So yeah, the guy that they thought was Michael Myers burned to death, and that's what happened to Michael Myers at the end.
Yeah.
So that's a very good point. I never got that connection. If anything, you could say it was a foreshadowing.
Yeah, that's true.
Because, it definitely is. So, of course, Dr. Loomis orders them to get a fucking dentist over to the station so they could do the dental records. They have a hunch it might not be him because they said the body is like a guy with no fillings who's younger and all that.
Yeah, they said he was like 17.
Yeah, and he said, well, Michael's 21, so we can't be 100% sure that this is him, especially because the body's all charred up. So they're waiting a couple hours to hear back from the dental records, but in the meantime, obviously, it's not like they stopped. They continue looking for Michael Myers because there's a chance he's still out there.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out, it was Laurie's crush from the first. So, eventually, Michael works his way to the hospital, and eventually he catches up with Laurie after like killing her nurse, and Laurie's on the run, and while Dr. Loomis is in the car with a nurse and a cop who was driving him, apparently Dr. Loomis got ordered by the governor to return to the psych ward because I guess maybe they didn't like that he was like on foot involving himself in this like crime investigation.
Well, it also seemed like everybody was blaming him for Michael getting out.
Oh my god, yeah, everyone was seriously blaming him throughout the movie. Actually, like, you even find out that, the cop realizes that his daughter Annie from the first film, it turns out that, the cop goes up and he's like, oh, we found another body and it was Annie. So the cop fucking freaks out and they go check the body and, the cop sees that it was his daughter. So what does he do? He looks to Dr. Loomis and goes, this is your fault. You let him out. Dude, that's not fair. Like,
yeah.
Dr. Loomis, he just calmly said, I didn't let him out. I was the one requesting he had restraints, but no one fucking listened to him.
Yep.
And even in the very beginning of the first one, Dr. Loomis was like, I told you to restrain him, and the next thing happens, he gets broken loose. So it was not Dr. Loomis's fault whatsoever, even though everyone in 2 thinks it was. So again, they get an order for Dr. Loomis to return to the hospital. And so they're doing that, and then the nurse is like, listen, I think there's a small detail, a small detail I should fill you in on. Michael Myers is actually Laurie's real sister, and like she told him the whole story about how she was adopted and all that to protect her. So Dr. Loomis is like, turn this the fuck around. We are going back to the hospital because, of course, that's where Michael would be now that they know it's his sister.
Right.
Because he wants to reenact the killing of his sister like in the first one. So, they rushed back to the hospital and they got there just in time. And after, some running around and shit, let's just flash forward to the part where Dr. Loomis ends up in this like confined room with Laurie and Michael's in there going after her. So Dr. Loomis turns on this oxygen tank, turns on this ether tank, and after Laurie shoots his eyes out, it blinds Michael Myers, so he's slashing around, and then Loomis goes, Michael, like, this is it. So he tells Laurie, get the fuck out of the room, lights a fucking lighter, boom! The fucking place explodes in fire, and then, like, Laurie, when she turns around, she sees Michael still walking, even though he's totally on fire, and then eventually he collapses, and that's the end. So, you know what? I think what made Halloween 2 for me was not only the more adventurous kills and stuff, because, Michael Myers is in a hospital setting this time, so
Right.
he had a scalpel and all that. But Dr. Loomis, his fucking acting was just as great as the first one.
Oh, yeah.
And if I'm trying to think of stuff I didn't notice, you already pointed out some things I didn't make connections to, but I totally forgot how Laurie, I think it was after she was given, like, sedatives or whatever, that she had flashbacks of visiting Michael in the psych ward when she was, like a little kid and he was a little kid. I guess we were a little confused on what the timeline was for that.
Yeah, I don't...
Because she got adopted when she was 4, I think. So you would assume when she was meeting Michael, like maybe for the first and last time saying goodbye, you would think it would be her real parents that were saying, like, maybe Laurie should visit him one time before we pass her off to this other family.
Right.
But yeah, we seemed a little confused about the timing of that.
Just I can't remember what she said. I think when she was telling him about it, she said that Laurie was born 2 years before Michael was committed.
Okay.
And then 2 years later was adopted by the Strode family.
Okay.
Which would make her 4.
All right, well, do you think she could have possibly visited him with her real parents when she was 4, right before she got passed on
I mean, I
to
guess.
our family?
Yeah.
Because I think your one concern was saying maybe the girl in that flashback that was Laurie looked a little too old.
Yeah,
to be a
she looked a
toddler.
little old.
So
Yeah.
maybe they just didn't choose the right looking character to portray a 4-year-old. But it's really interesting because I didn't remember that flashback.
Yeah.
For her. But yeah, Halloween 2, I fucking loved it.
Oh, yeah.
It was like a straight up continuation of the first one, so it was great. I know there was alternative cuts, I think, for like TV, and something that's really interesting is when you normally watch Halloween 2, you kind of see the scene where this boy has like a gashed open mouth that's bleeding, and he's going into the hospital and all that. But I think it's only in the TV version that you find out there was like a razor blade in his apple or whatever.
Right.
So not only were they trying to say like, oh, Michael Myers is a threat, on Halloween, but also there's other bad shit going on around here. But again, it seemed like they kind of brushed that away since they didn't put it in the official version.
Right.
But again, I'm pretty sure that's just an alternate cut and not like a deleted scene or anything. Because obviously when they take away some of the boobs and violence for TV, they got to replace it with other filler shit.
Right.
But what were you saying about Halloween 2? You said some of the fans felt a little more isolated in this one because of...
Well, both, like, fans and, I guess, people who worked on it were kind of deterred by the fact that this one kind of upped the gore and the nudity and stuff, which I guess they felt like all these movies that had come after the first Halloween doing that kind of stuff were imitators, like trying to best the movie that they were inspired by.
Yeah.
And they felt like it was that they didn't need to like sink to their level, like that they could stay on the same playing field and make the same kind of movie.
I didn't think it was intrusive at all.
No, I mean, well, it's by our standards these days.
Yeah.
Like, this movie's fucking, like, PG.
I mean, obviously, you see a fuck ton more of Michael.
Right.
And you see more of, like, details of his killing and all
Yeah.
that. But, yeah, I understand why maybe people were a little more turned off. Obviously, because the first one was, like, not gory at all. And
Right.
now you're seeing, like, a girl's get her face dumped in this boiling fucking, like, therapy hot tub thing. And her skin's getting all burned up and shit.
That's like the one scene, I mean, besides like the explosion and the fire and stuff, like the one scene that sticks out as like, oh, I remember that from Halloween 2 before I like watched it again. But I feel like that's because the first time I saw it, I was a teenager, and that's the scene with like the boobs.
Oh,
so it probably stuck in my stupid head. But
yeah, like I remember the hot tub. Oh.
with that fucking creepy guy who's like in the lunchroom singing fucking Amazing Grace, come sit on my face, like fucking weirdo.
It kind of makes you wonder, like, what kind of killers Michael Myers were. Instead of just killing the guys in a hot tub, he decides to fuck with them. It's like, here, let me crank up the heat a little bit and make it a little hot. Like, that was silly. But then again, it did lure the guy out to check the temperature gauge and all that. So, it was Michael maybe was a little more inventive and clever.
Yeah.
This one.
So when you watched the movie, did you feel like whenever you seen this movie that he was like wearing a different mask almost?
I think he might have been, mainly because the hair looks completely different. I think.
I always thought it was a different mask.
I
But
think
then
every movie is a different mask.
Well, apparently not.
No.
No, apparently, from what I read, the mask just got kind of beat up and warped. I guess the guy who wore it in the first movie would
Nick
like
Castle.
hold it in his back pocket and stuff when he wasn't shooting, and that kind of.
Well, they probably didn't think they would need it for a sequel, right? At the time.
And then they said, I think it was like their producer or someone like held onto the mask between movies and was a heavy smoker, so it kind of got a little yellowed and a little worn. And
So that was the same mask?
Same mask, yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, that is crazy, because I'm glad you brought that up, because right off the bat I did think, oh, cool, that's a different mask, but it didn't bother me.
Right.
But yeah, I didn't remember seeing like the details of the cheekbone and all that you would see on their original
Right.
mask.
I guess they said that after the movie, the guy who played Michael in this movie got the mask from, like, kept the prop because, as we'll get to with Season of the Witch, they didn't expect to be bringing Michael Myers back.
Yeah, and I heard one reason why they chose even a different actor was because obviously an actor would get paid more for a sequel, so they just would get a different guy since it was a guy in a mask.
Right.
Which is sad.
So yeah, they I guess he got to keep it, and then when they decided in Halloween 4 that they were going to bring Michael Myers back, then they had to get him a new mask, so they just made it a thing where every movie it was going to change.
And a lot of fans complain about certain masks, but I never remember a mask bothering me that Michael Myers was wearing. Like, I'm not that nitpicky.
Right.
Especially as a kid. But
Yeah, right.
but yeah, Halloween 2, I love it just as much as the original.
Oh, yeah.
Some people, I don't think some people like it that much, because some people complain that it's in the hospital. And they're like, oh, what kind of hospital is this where there's all these empty fucking rooms, like there's no one in there, no patients or nothing. But hey, maybe there's just a lot of healthy people in Haddonfield. But, you know, obviously it wouldn't quite work if you had a hospital occupied with a shit ton of patients, because then it wouldn't be Laurie alone, trapped in a hospital with that fucking psychopath.
Right.
But, you know, I thought it was great, and
Yeah.
it was cool seeing Laurie Strode's character, you know, almost having to face him again, you know, when she ended up shooting his eyes out. How the fuck did she shoot his eyes out? That's some good
Yeah,
aim.
right.
But, anything else you want to touch upon with Halloween number 2?
No, I think that's about all.
All right. Well, we figured since we did this review video, we might as well, like I said, announce the winner for the PJ Soul. Guess what? Our Insomniacs are so awesome that we had a total of 4 people enter our contest. I don't know, guys. We even had comments from more than 4 people, so I'm not sure why only 4 people entered. But
Hey, man, maybe some people just weren't looking for
some
it.
people
you know
don't
what I
like PJ Souls because of her dating that Bob the pedophile. But again, yeah. So you know, we got this cool photo card with her signature and certificate of authenticity. Since we only had 4 people, we figured we might as well just go for a randomizer app where you spin the wheel. So, Steve, I guess you can hold that up for them. So we have
You want to read off our people who made it in?
Yeah, so all 4 people who entered, we have Albert Martin, we have Colin Childers, we have Conformity Bites, and we have Mielo 0007. I'm not sure.
I think it's Mielo 007.
Mielo 007. Okay. Yeah, those zeros and O's, you always get them mixed up.
Yeah.
So anyway, congratulations to all 4 of you who entered. So I guess we'll do a little randomizer. I'm not sure exactly how that works.
I think you just hit this little die thing on the bottom.
All right, just so you know that we're being legit, you can watch me push a button. I'm not sure if it's going to show up on there, but... All right, the wheel is spinning. You can kind of see it spinning on there. So does it stop by itself, or do I...
Yeah, no, it'll stop on its own.
All right, it's stopping. So the winner of this PJ Souls signature photo is Colin Childers. So congratulations to Colin Childers. I guess now it's our first time doing a contest giveaway, so I guess we're going to have to contact you through YouTube, I guess on your page or whatever.
Yeah.
We're new to this, so Colin Childers, yeah, we're going to have to contact you for your address to ship this thing to you. So congratulations to you. Thank you for entering.
Yeah.
I mean, since we have probably more viewers than when we released that video, I figured why not start with another giveaway. So I guess we're gonna do the same thing. Comment hashtag NSA giveaway. You have to subscribe, and then that's it, right? Subscribe, comment, NSA giveaway, and you'll be entered.
Yep.
So I'm gonna give away a double. I have this actually. I'm not sure if it's out of print. I'm assuming it is, but here's kind of an old edition of Halloween 2 on DVD. So I don't need it. I have Halloween 2. So yeah, enter to win Halloween 2 on DVD. So that's gonna wrap up this video. Another shout out to the Myers Fanatic. I guess we will be getting around to part 3 at some point.
Yay.
Yay! We got a bunch more to go.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, stay tuned for our next episode. Kurious Cyclopes
And Steve.
Thanks for watching Never Sleep Again TV.
Thanks, guys.